Back in August, work was starting, the tomatoes were coming in abundance. Instead of trying to process them at that time, I just put them in freezer bags and let them go. I should have cored them and destemmed them. So I kept telling everybody that I think I've got like, 75 pounds of tomatoes, maybe 60 pounds if I'm embellishing. 110 with the boxes. We subtracted the boxes. We have roughly 105 pounds of tomatoes. Instead of trying to do 2 or 3 different recipes with 100 pounds of tomatoes, looked in my ball book, and on page 360, there's just a basic tomato sauce. With the basic tomato sauce, I'll be able to turn it into a pizza sauce, a spaghetti sauce, a tomato soup. So that way, you know, it'll be quick, it'll be easy. Tomatoes are processed and they're all gonna go in a jar on the shelf. I don't have a food mill. I borrowed this from my cousin, put it together, and so this is the first time that I'm using a food mill. I had to look it up online to figure out how to use it. This should be interesting. Now I heard 2 different things. I heard you either save the water or you discard the water. Now if you save the water, some folks said the water has got a lot of flavor in it, but you're like tripling your reduction time. So for sake of time today, I'm not gonna save the water. I'm just gonna put the tomatoes through. Let's see what happens. I have a feeling this is gonna be a really messy job. I have a beach towel I'm gonna put down here because we're already getting tomato juice all over the floor. So I finished my first pot of tomatoes, and it's just about as messy as you think it would be. I am covered in tomatoes. So what I'm finding myself having to do is take a tomato, split it up, and then put it in the mill. And that way it works a little less. If I don't do that, I'm finding I'm getting sprayed more. So lesson learned, next time I think I will boil these down to make the skins a lot softer, because this is really messy. Yeah, I think this thing's a little bit, you know, I have no words. This sauce, this big pot is full, but I think I might do. This is really messy. I mean, really messy. I think I might take this out and give it a good scrub, and see maybe if it'll be a little easier again. I think once like the pulp and everything starts to get stuck, this is a little more difficult than I thought. I've been going at this a while now, probably a good hour and a half. I got my roaster oven done. I just have 7 more quart bags, plus a little bit here. I don't think I like this machine very well. It gets jammed up. I'm being very careful not to even overfill it. I mean, I only put probably 3 or 4 tomatoes at a time. I mean, these tomatoes are thawed, they're mush. I'm even slipping some of the skins off, and I'm still struggling to get it through this machine. Over here, I started the tomato sauce to get it to reduce. I'm filling up this one next. I'm curious to see just how much we're gonna get from 105 pounds of tomatoes. I will say that I am starting to get the hang of this. I didn't realize it was going to be I don't know what I thought. I thought my blinders were on. I've never done something like this before, and you really have to take your time with it. But we're getting there. I can see the end. We're officially done with the tomatoes. If you look here behind me, I made a really big mess. So I'm gonna start cleaning up and I'm gonna show you the tomatoes. This one has been going the longest and it's getting thicker. It still has a way to go, but it's the thickest. This one I've been skimming off, but this is starting to get thick too. This one I just started, so it's real watery. So we'll let those go, simmer down, reduce, and I'm gonna set my stuff up for canning. Here's all the byproduct we have from the tomatoes. If I would have thought to core and destem them, then I could have done something with this, but there's just a bunch of yuck in it. I know better for next time. Last night I just put all my jars in the dishwasher so they'd be ready to go. If you're not familiar with canning, it's important to keep your jars hot. If you're putting your hot food, you want it into a hot jar and then it goes into a hot canner. I'm actually going to start with some pints because it's a smaller batch that's ready to go. So I'm just going to put our jars in the oven. So it's probably been a good 3 hours since I started this. I think this is pretty good. It's reduced down more than half. Kind of plops when you fall, and I'm not seeing like a whole lot of water. I just pulled all of my jars out of the oven. They're nice and hot. I'm gonna work quickly. I just put a half a teaspoon of salt because they're pints. Now I'm gonna put in a tablespoon of lemon juice. If it were a quart, I would do 2 tablespoons. This is to keep the acidity at the correct amount. Tomatoes are acidic, but when they sit a long time, they can lose that acidity, and we don't know just how acidic each tomato is. So this way, it's safe. I've got my vinegar here. Even though I know I was careful, I'm still gonna go and wipe around these rims. That pot wasn't enough to do all of them, so these are nice and hot. I have another pot over here that's almost ready. So I'm just gonna get these sealed up. And then get the other one going. I have to say, canning this has been the messiest project I've ever done. Nice phone reflection on my face. But anyway, I think I started this project at about 11 o'clock this morning, and it is 9:45 at night. Whoop, cat and dog. She's okay. This is little Ralphie. He's a little Amish puppy. Yeah, he's doing really good. He needs a haircut though. So anyway, timer went off. I'm just about ready to take out the last of the jars. Let's see how we did. So this morning we started with 105 pounds of tomatoes. Any guesses what we ended up with? I'm a little disappointed. 105 pounds of tomatoes. And we wound up with 5 quarts and 6 pints. Okay. That's a little bit depressing. 12 hours of my day. And that's what we ended up with. Now I know that we didn't necessarily use just paste tomatoes. There were a lot of different tomatoes in there. I think next time, if I do this again, it will be the paste tomatoes. So that's what you get. When you freeze your tomatoes, you're not gonna get a lot. I don't know if I'll ever do spaghetti sauce again. It's not spaghetti sauce, it's tomato sauce. So it's a base. Anyway, so I think it's fair. I worked for 12 hours on this sauce. Mike is going to clean the kitchen. Right, honey? Canny in February. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you next time. Have a blessed week.